By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. HeMan. HeMan represents the higher divine enlightened self. Specifically, HeMan is the higher self of Adam, the name of the first man from the Christian Bible, literally the alpha male, the original man, the prototypical quintessential everyman. This higher self is not obvious to the five senses. It is omnipresent yet invisible and intangible, only to be evoked when called forth by vocalizing the intention to release it. Only the truly awake will see it in everyday life. Only those with access to the third eye biopsycho-spiritual technology. Though it is obvious that HeMan and Adam are the same person, in the reality that HeMan inhabits, no one can believe such an average humble person could be so powerful and magnetic. Such is the case with Superman and Clark Kent, Batman and Bruce Wayne, Neo and Thomas Anderson. Within every so-called average human lies the door to an elevated being. It is the true God particle within us. The sincere humility of Adam is what allows him to access this great inner force. He becomes HeMan by holding aloft his magic sword and speaking the magic spell. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. The Grayskull Castle, the source of HeMan's power, represents the gray skull, and the power inside the skull is the power of consciousness, or what you could also call spirit. There is evidence to suggest that the door to this higher self lies within the pineal gland, a small pinecone-looking gland in the middle of the brain. To unlock the power requires using your magic sword. The magic sword represents the light, the will, and even the soul. It represents power as well as cutting to the truth. It is the number one and the lingam, the male principle. HeMan holding up his magic sword parallels the King Arthur legend when Arthur pulls the sword from the stone to become king. Your king or queen self is the higher divine self, and the crown represents the halo of awakening. It is the crown chakra of enlightenment. Buddha is the higher self of Siddhartha, and Christ is the higher self of Yeshua. We each have the ability to unlock the light and power inside of our gray skulls. Interestingly, HeMan never uses the magic sword for violence. He only uses it to unlock the power of HeMan. When HeMan holds up his sword, he is struck by lightning and thunder, the Vajra thunderbolt of enlightenment in Buddhism, the divine symbol of awakening and indestructible force, the signature weapon of Zeus, king of the Greek gods. Skulls are a deep symbol that represent enlightenment and transcendent knowledge that goes beyond the material world and the flesh. The skull also represents death, and this is more so the case with Skeletor, who looks like the Grim Reaper with his hooded visage. On HeMan's chest, he wears the Iron Cross, representing strength and bravery. The original cross symbol was overlaid on a circle and represents the sun. HeMan is the sun, light, and life. Skeletor embodies night, dark, death, and fear. HeMan and his friends must, as he says, defend the secrets of Castle Grayskull from the evil forces of Skeletor. Thus, they must defend the skull from fear. Losing to fear means losing all of the power. To protect the castle from fear, they use the secret powers of the gray skull, of consciousness, of spirit. The only people who know HeMan's secrets are Man-at-Arms, the Sorceress, and Orko. Man-at-Arms represents HeMan's left brain and masculine consciousness. Man-at-Arms is a master of math, science, technology, war, and the physical body. The Sorceress represents the right brain, the emotional and spiritual side of consciousness. It is the female aspect that represents feeling and intuition. The sorceress can turn into a falcon and lives permanently in the gray skull. The Egyptian god Horus also was able to transform into a falcon, and the Eye of Horus represents the third eye which can see into the spirit world. The sorceress represents the connection to spirit, as she is the one who gave HeMan the magic sword of power. To access the power inside the skull means opening the third eye. Opening the third eye gives you the ability to see beyond the material. It gives you extraordinary knowledge, and knowledge is power. Man-at-Arms and the sorceress represent the same yin-yang dynamic as the architect and oracle from the Matrix. Ultimate yang and ultimate yin. The balance and amplification of these opposites leads to realizing the higher self and achieving cosmic consciousness. Cosmic consciousness is what truly makes one a master of the universe. As above, so below. To become a master of the universe is to master the universe that's inside of you. Orko represents the subconscious. He is mostly without a solid body, hidden in the shadow of his clothes except for his eyes, ears, and hands. His sigil is the O, which is a symbol for darkness and nothingness. It is the number 0, and like the subconscious, Orko is always causing random and unexpected accidents, sometimes helpful, but sometimes creating even more obstacles for HeMan to overcome, allowing him opportunities to further prove his power and greatness. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The entire show takes place in the world of Eternia, which represents the timeless spiritual dimension of energy, dreams, and imagination. The HeMan cartoon is a metaphor for the inner forces of consciousness externalized in various human forms and all occurring within the gray skull castle of Adam, the HeMan.